Hi, everyone. We are now going to talk about planes. So, when we look at diagnostic imaging, whether it's an MRI, a CAT scan, we can take and analyze the human body in different directions. We can look at it from front to back, we can look at it side to side, or we can look at it like a bird's eye view, looking down into something or looking up into something, right? Look at it from three different positions. So it looks like we're cutting the body into this direction, going front to back. When you're going front to back, that's in alignment. When you look at osteology and you look at the skull, there's a suture right on the top of the skull that runs in the same direction called a sagittal suture. Sagittal suture. So this happens to be the sagittal plane. Okay, so it looks at from side to side, right? But it does allow us to look at things from anterior to posterior in that direction. Now we can cut the body in this direction going from left to right. When we cut it in this direction from left to right, we can separate the body into a front half and a back half. That's called a frontal plane, also known as a coronal plane. Coronal and frontal are interchangeable terms. I like coronal better just because when we do osteology and you look at the skull, there's another suture going in this direction, in that same direction as the frontal plane, called a coronal suture. So there's a sagittal suture and a coronal. Coronal goes across, coronal goes across, coronal goes across. But it's the frontal plane because you could see the body from the front or you could see it from the back. Then we can slice the body in half. When we slice it in half, it gives us this view of looking down into it or looking up in it. That's called a transverse plane. Transverse plane. Now, in terms of sagittal, you can have it right down the center. That could be mid-sagittal, but you can also slice the body this way, which is not mid-sagittal, but now it's parasagittal, right? When it's mid-sagittal, you have an equal left half and an equal right half. When it's parasagittal, you have an unequal side to the right compared to the left. That's parasagittal. Okay, so when we look at this is a transverse plane. When we look at this one right down the center right here, that's mid-sagittal. This one here is parasagittal, right? Because when I draw this line, if we look at the right side compared to the left, they're not equal. But if we look at the mid-sagittal here, you'd have an equal left half to an equal right half. And pay attention here, this is the clavicle right there. That's the clavicular bone. So notice that this parasagittal line is passing right through the mid-clavicular region. Okay. So now here it's like a matching section. All right, so what divides the body into anterior and posterior sections? That's the coronal, also known as the frontal. What divides the body into equal left half and right half? Well, that's sagittal and it's mid-sagittal. What divides the body into an unequal left and right? That's going to be parasagittal. And then the transverse divides the body into the upper and lower section, or superior and inferior section. Okay, now, okay, you're looking at this. If you jump to conclusions, you may say, oh, that is the right lower quadrant. I would agree if it's asking quadrants, but it says, what is the medial border of the highlighted region called? So now they're asking, like, you have to know a few things here. You have to know that this is superior, this is inferior, this is lateral, and this is medial. So what is the medial portion? Well, this is medial. So what is this line? That's mid-sagittal, right? They're asking a few pieces of information. They're getting two for the price of one there. What about here? What is the name of the line that makes the medial border of the highlighted region? Okay, well, here's the highlighted region. It's the left hypochondriac, but they're not asking that. So this is lateral, this is medial, this is superior, this is inferior. So this line, there's the clavicle. The answer was midclavicular. That was the best answer. Okay, we'll take a break. When we come back, our last section is on body cavities.